What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So last week Ironheart aired its final 3 episodes. I was going to upload this video a few days ago, but I've just been really busy, Independence Day weekend, all of that stuff. But here we are now, going to give my spoiler-filled thoughts. So again, this is going to be a spoiler review, just for a warning, guys. If you want to know quick what I think about it from a spoiler-free standpoint, it's an okay show. I would say go check it out. It's so much better than a lot of the other stuff we've gotten, like Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, Echo even. But, you know, it's still not upper tier Marvel television, but it's far from the worst. So I'd say if you're interested, go check it out. But yeah, everything from here on out, going to be full spoilers on display, so just know that. So kind of just starting off with some general positives. I think that this film, or the series, really has some strong emotional beats to it that I really didn't expect from this show. And not just the kind where it's like, oh, it gets emotional, but then the very next, like, millisecond, they're making a joke to lighten the mood. Like, it really lets you marinate in it. And I'm not saying it's like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 level emotional or anything like that. I'm not saying that it's, you know... I'm trying to think of, like, other really emotional, like, recent Marvel content. But, you know, like, basically the point is, it's not... like depressingly sad, but the moments that really need to be emotional, the moments where you need to feel sadness or any sort of other strong emotional, you know, punch, it really works. And there's a well-balanced mix throughout this series of humor and drama. There were, you know, not all the humor lands, but when it does, it can actually be pretty funny. And it also never negates the drama. Again, kind of what I mentioned earlier about when moments need to land, it lands, and it's not trying to lighten the mood with a joke, but they just really balance out the funnier moments with the more dramatic moments, and I just really appreciate that. Moving on, there are some really clever callbacks to Iron Man and the early MCU. For example, there's a certain character in this. He's the son of Obadiah Stane from the original Iron Man, Ezekiel Stane, I believe his name was. And they do a lot of interesting things with him in this series. I wasn't a big fan of kind of how they make him into this, like, almost brainwashed villain or whatever. It just seemed a little too forced in my opinion, but I did like that we're going back to the early days of the MCU. I was like, okay, let's go. I like this callback. And again, it does touch on some moments that happened early in the MCU involving Iron Man and all that, and it just all really works quite well. Furthermore, Riri Williams, she creates, and I believe it's like the first or second episode, an AI character known as Natalie, and who's basically this AI projection of her friend that passed away with her dad when she was younger. And I just felt like this character just brought such a fun, kinetic energy to this show. It's very much like she has, you know, to her, she is Natalie, because this AI, you know, it's basically Natalie manifested in computer form, and so to her, she's thinking, you know, nothing's changed, I am Natalie, and she has all the memories of her friend, and it just lends to some really funny moments, but again, some really emotional moments with this character that just really work and really help, I think, elevate this show more than it would be without her presence. Anthony Ramos as the Hood, this has been one of my, you know, most anticipated villains probably in any Marvel show, and for the most part, he does a really good job. I think he brings a really charismatic performance and gravitas to his role. I would have personally loved to see a little more of him, maybe just a little more backstory, but it does feel like, you know, he could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but overall, I just thought he did a great job, and they don't kill him off at the end, so, you know, we very likely could maybe see him down the road. Yeah, and then kind of moving on from that, there are some really fun heist sequences in the show, especially in the first 3 episodes. It's not like, you know, the Ant-Man scene level good, or the first Ant-Man movie when they're pulling off that heist and the PIM. I haven't seen that movie in years, I can't remember where it was, but like the PIM headquarters or something like that. It's not like that good, but they're still really fun, and you know, solid action sequences as well. The CGI is very consistent throughout. I mean, yeah, there's like 1 or 2 moments if you're really looking for it where it might feel off a little bit, but overall, it's definitely one of the most consistently visually pleasing looking MCU shows. That was a weird sentence. I didn't like that, but bear with me, guys. And yeah, kind of moving, I guess, more into the mixed negative aspects. I'm gonna be honest with you. The first episode is a tad too slow for me. I wasn't sure, like, I didn't hate it by any means, but I wasn't quite as invested as I thought I should have been with this. It just felt a little like it dragged on, kind of like how I felt with the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but a little worse in that regard. Kind of when I watched first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was like, it feels a little slow, not sure how I'm feeling about it, but as the show went on, I enjoyed it significantly more. I wouldn't ever say I enjoyed Ironheart close to as much as I ended up enjoying Falcon and Winter Soldier, because by the end of it, I ended up loving that series. But I will say the first episode, if you can get past it, most of the episodes are a lot better than that first episode. And then, there's certain other elements too, like the Hood storyline that I kind of mentioned feels a little glossed over. And the magic versus tech premise, which was something that I was really, really looking forward to in the series, doesn't really expand as much on it as I would have liked. Like, they kind of play around with it, they kind of tease it. You obviously got the final fight with Riri Williams versus the Hood, and that's obviously magic versus technology, but I feel like that central premise that they had promised us years ago when this was first announced was not really explored to the best of its abilities. But yeah, and kind of moving, I guess this is kind of more a mixed thing. I'm kind of not sure how I feel about Riri Williams herself as a protagonist. Now, if you're still made it to the end of this video, I know I haven't given away any major spoilers yet, but here's another major spoiler warning, because this is literally the final episode. This is the big reveal. You probably already know it because it's been all over the internet. Mephisto has made his appearance in the MCU, and a lot of people were theorizing this probably a year or two even before the show came out. And sure enough, final episode, we realized that Mephisto's kind of been pulling the strings with the Hood this whole time. And up to this point, to just give you a little bit of backstory, I wasn't exactly enthralled with the Riri character. She felt very, like, I didn't hate her in Wakanda Forever, but she wasn't a character I wanted to see get her own spin-off show, per se. But I will say that this time around, I really felt like she just seemed very unlikable, like more so than Wakanda Forever. I mean, Wakanda Forever, she wasn't really unlikable. It just wasn't a character I particularly was dying to see more of. But here, she was just very disrespectful to her mom. She just seemed like a jerk. She's very smart, but she's like basically stealing from other people and cheating the school system. Again, kind of manipulating others. She seemed like a very icky character. But then when the finale happened, I kind of realized that this is supposed to kind of be the downfall of this character. Now, could she come back? Yes. If they include her in further MCU projects down the road, I think she probably will have quite the redemption arc. But the way the show ends, it kind of ends on borderline a cliffhanger, because it ends with Mephisto basically asking Riri the same question that he asked Anthony Ramos's Hood character earlier on, where he's like, I can give you anything you want. What is it you want? And at this point, her AI, Natalie AI, had been completely disconnected. She had lost Natalie again, technically. And obviously she still isn't over the death of her father, or, her actual best friend for that matter. So she asks, basically to bring Natalie back. And you realize at the end, Mephisto's kind of more or less taken over her. And it kind of ends where I'm like, I would actually not be opposed to a season 2. Like, I wouldn't say I love the show by any means, and at times it's not even really a good show per se, but I would love to see a season 2 of this. Because just like with Moon Knight, didn't love Moon Knight, but I think the potential was there for a killer second season. And that's kind of how I feel with Ironheart, is that, again, I would love to see more Mephisto. I thought Sacha Baron Cohen, I believe his name is, did a fantastic job. And I'm sure we're going to get to see more of him down the road. But yeah, so I guess overall with the Riri Williams character herself, that was a big reason why the show was kind of a few notches down for me. And I get what they're trying to do, and I appreciate Marvel for really doing something different. Because at first I'm like, well, of course she's going to learn her lesson and be like, no, I'm good. I don't need... I don't want any part of this. I've seen what you've done to the Hood. Screw this. I'm out. No, she actually goes for it because she's not truly over the death of her friend and father. And so, again, it's more of like a tragedy. Not like on the level of, say, Joker. Like, it's obviously a bit more kid-friendly than that. But just Marvel having the guts to end a potentially series like this. I highly doubt this will get a season 2, but down the road, I'm sure we'll get, answers to what happened to Riri. I'm sure she'll appear in future projects. I know after Secret Wars, it's rumored it's going to be about the mutants and about the like more witchcraft horror side of Marvel. So I'm sure we're going to get answers to this, whether or not we get a season 2. But yeah, while I appreciate it, I just don't think it makes for a particularly interesting protagonist. And it's nothing against Dominique Williams. She gave a really good performance, best to I think what she was given. But I think they could have just written the show better, tightened the pacing up, and maybe added like another episode or two just to ultimately get us, you know, like more like basically kind of in that first episode where I feel like or first 2 episodes for that matter, where they kind of meander a bit. They could have taken some of the more meandering or rehashing of plot points away and kind of added more to the Hood's backstory, all this other stuff. And I think maybe by the time you get to her making that decision, it would have felt more earned, in my opinion. But yeah, overall though, it's not a half bad show. Like, again, there's some clever callbacks to early MCU. The visuals are there. I actually do really like the Ironheart suits that we get in the show. And, you know, there are some very solid moments throughout that really, and very clever heist scenes and action set pieces that really do work. So overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I would say if you're interested in the show at all, give it a watch. But if this just doesn't look like your cup of tea, or you watch the first couple episodes and you're just like, I'm tapping out, I would say you're not missing a whole lot. But unless you really want to see Mephisto, then in that case, I'd recommend catching up. But yeah, that's really all I got for today, guys. Just let me know in the comments down below what you all think of Ironheart. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Is it kind of middle of the road like it is? Or did y'all find it to be middle of the road like I kind of did? Or did you just absolutely hate it and think this is the worst Marvel show? Which I'm all for respecting opinions, but if you think this show was worse than Secret Invasion, there's something wrong with you. Just kidding. Love you all. But yeah, just let me know what you thought in the comments down below, guys. And as always, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and I will catch you all later. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you liked what you've seen here and you want to see more, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and check out my other videos in the link in the description down below. And I will see you all later.